Off the phone right now, and I am going to let you professionals look at the situation and come back to me with a solution.
That had to be there.
We getting tighter, you know what I'm saying? And united we stand, and ain't nothing else.
Black excellence, they're sitting there like, yeah.
How did you get that footage of Diddy?
I figured most journalists would not disclose their sources.
Does he know y'all have this in the doc?
No matter what, no matter what nobody said, let's just here and there, y'all are not working together the right way. We're losing.
Diddy just sued 50 Cent for $1 billion. Yes, $1 billion. And it all started with a Netflix documentary that ripped open hip-hop's most guarded secrets. The series, Sean Combs' The Reckoning, didn't just expose Diddy's legal battles, it painted an unfiltered picture of power, manipulation, and betrayal in the music industry.
We're losing sight of the big picture, man. It's the middle of September and there's still no indictment.
Then you have to have a spokesman. You have to have some sort of comms to constantly be pushing that more.
And now the Combs family is fighting back hard, claiming Netflix crossed the line from journalism to defamation. Former Bad Boy insider Gene Deal says it best. I think they dropped it already. They've dotted their I's and crossed their T's. Translation, Diddy's legal team isn't bluffing. They're preparing for war.
You know what I'm saying? Because he's telling his truth about what went down and what he saw or what he heard or whatever like that. I don't know how to love my enemy. And if I gotta put out the truth about something that he was doing and is wrong, and that was wrong, I don't have no problem with that shit. Not a problem at all.
But the question everyone's asking is this Diddy's fight for redemption or the biggest PR disaster of his career? Meanwhile, things are spiraling online. Diddy's son King Combs is threatening 50 Cent on social media. 50's clapping back with brutal memes, and Netflix's numbers are exploding.
Wow, this is amazing. I think he's gonna say this is the best documentary I've seen in a long time. Because you'll see people saying that. He may feel a different way about pieces and bits of it, but he knows the truth. Turning a courtroom feud into a viral storm that's rewriting hip-hop history in real time. It all began when Netflix dropped Sean Combs' The Reckoning, a 4-part docuseries executive produced by 50 Cent that tore into the legacy of one of hip-hop's most powerful moguls.
You didn't do anything wrong on any front, and you've come to New York to face things head on. If anyone's ever paying any attention to what you've actually been doing, you handled this
In the dirtiest of dirty business of media, in propaganda.
Within 2 weeks, it racked up 40 million views and ignited chaos across the internet. The series digs into everything: Diddy's rise to fame, his empire built through Bad Boy Records, and the disturbing allegations that led to his downfall. Viewers watched in disbelief as former associates described a man consumed by power, someone who blurred the lines between mentorship and manipulation. Then came Aubrey O'Day's haunting moment. Once Diddy's protege in making the band, she broke down on camera, questioning her own past. Does this mean I was raped? I don't even know if I was raped. And I don't want to know. That single line sent shockwaves through social media.
You realize the burden that puts on my soul for the past year, the weight of that man and his I will never get up from under it. Leader in that way, it's admirable until you get to the point where you want to control everyone around you. He got to that point.
A chilling reminder of how blurred the truth has become. The documentary features exclusive footage from before Diddy's September 2024 arrest, scenes his lawyers claim were stolen while Netflix insists they were legally obtained. To Netflix, this was bold investigative storytelling. To Diddy's camp, it was character assassination.
Just or not guilty. I don't want to have a life to be able to live. It's really going to be hard for me to take more hits than I've taken.
A hit job disguised as journalism, and the tension didn't stop there. As the documentary dominated headlines, the Combs family went on the offensive. Insiders revealed that Diddy's attorneys were preparing a $1 billion defamation lawsuit against Netflix, accusing the streaming giant of knowingly spreading falsehoods to boost ratings. The legal filing still under review.
Now, Diddy, we got to get to this. According to reports, he's getting ready to sue Netflix for $1 billion. Damn. One source is alleging the documentary was made to assassinate his character. It isn't journalism, it's entertainment. Allegedly, Diddy has hired one of the most powerful law firms in the U.S. and wants at least $1 billion in damages, and that number could go up if Netflix does not retract some of the things that were said.
Wow. Points to several explosive claims the family says were completely fabricated, including allegations that Diddy forced the notorious B.I.G. family to pay for the rapper's funeral, that he slapped his mother Janice Combs, and that he abused employees and artists behind the scenes.
Did he smack his mom?
Well, yeah, listen, bruh, Kirk Burrows, the president at the time, a bad boy, told me that he smacked his mother.
Representatives for both Biggie's estate and Janice Combs immediately hit back, calling those claims deeply hurtful, fabricated, and irresponsible. They insist Netflix's team ignored basic fact-checking in favor of drama. Behind the scenes, Diddy's family has reportedly hired one of the most powerful law firms in the country, with plans to seek at least $1 billion in damages.
Wow, $1 billion.
You know, it was brought to my attention that I interviewed Mark Curry about his book Dancing with the Devil that was about Diddy.
Wow.
It's actually on my YouTube channel. So he hit me up. We're talking about,
A number that could climb if Netflix refuses to retract the most damning scenes. And according to one insider, this documentary wasn't journalism, it was entertainment. It was built to assassinate his character. But in the court of public opinion, that line between fact and fiction has already blurred. And 50 Cent's name is right in the middle of it. For years, 50 Cent has been Diddy's loudest critic. So when Netflix's reckoning dropped, fans immediately assumed he masterminded every frame. But Gene Deal, a man who worked closely with Diddy for decades, set the record straight. Everybody want to say that 50 Cent did the whole documentary. I don't believe that. He's not responsible for everything that goes in there. He's telling his truth. Still, 50's fingerprints are all over the energy surrounding this project. He's been vocal about Diddy's alleged industry secrets since 2023, long before the documentary dropped.
Everybody want to say that 50 Cent did the whole documentary. He was responsible for doing the whole documentary. What goes in there, what goes out of there. And I don't believe that. And I don't believe that he's responsible for everything that goes in there. I don't believe he's responsible for everything that goes out of there.
His online reaction? A masterclass in media control. He mocked, he posted memes, he laughed about the lawsuit. Every Diddy move became 50's punchline. And in doing so, he turned a legal nightmare into viral marketing gold. While Diddy's team scrambled to contain the damage, 50 was trending, growing his brand off the controversy. For him, this isn't just a feud, it's vindication. As one fan put it on X, 50's been saying this for years. Now everyone's finally listening. But the drama didn't stop with Diddy. His son, King Combs, 26, jumped into the fire and made it even hotter. Furious over how Netflix portrayed his father, King tweeted, "On my dad, if I ever see 50 Cent, I'll slap the f*** out of him." The tweet was deleted within minutes, but the internet never forgets.
If he on his daddy, that's what he said, on his daddy. If he ever see 50 Cent, he gonna slap the intercourse out of him. Alright. Hey, that's a bold statement to make. And I'm not saying, 50 Cent is immune to anybody. I would never be like, oh man, can't nobody touch that. Hey, somebody can, we just don't know who it is.
Screenshots flooded social media, and just like that, the feud went next generation. 50 Cent wasted no time firing back. "Lil bro, first close your mouth when you take pictures," he wrote. "I've been rich 3 times, sold records, sold shows, sold liquor, sold power. You're living off Wi-Fi and legacy. Relax." The response was brutal, calculated, and very 50. It turned King's threat into yet another viral moment that kept the spotlight firmly on him and on Netflix's skyrocketing view count. But behind the scenes, King has his own legal troubles to deal with. In 2024, he was sued for sexual assault by a woman who claims he attacked her during a supposed family yacht trip.
Diddy's son, Christian, aka King Combs, is now being sued, just like his father is. A woman filed a lawsuit against King, alleging that in late 2022, right before New Year's Eve, King assaulted her on a yacht, specifically sexually assaulted. There was a party going on, she was working it, and she claims that he started to hone in on her, groping her, trying to kiss her. She claims that she tried pushing him off of him, telling her that she didn't want it. And she claims that he continued pressing on and pressing on. In her lawsuit, she actually claims to have audio recordings of this, and she includes transcripts of all of this. And in the transcripts, if they're believed to be true, they do in fact show her trying to tell Christian, hey, leave me alone, I don't want this, leave me alone.
His lawyers denied it, calling it an opportunistic cash grab. Now, with both father and son facing legal and public battles, the Combs empire is under more scrutiny than ever, and 50 Cent is making sure the world keeps watching. Right now, Sean Diddy Combs is living a reality few could have imagined just a few years ago. Once hailed as hip-hop's ultimate mogul, a billionaire businessman, hitmaker, and brand icon, he's now serving a 50-month federal sentence inside New Jersey's Fort Dix Correctional Facility. The charge? Violating the Mann Act, transporting individuals across state lines for prostitution.
After October the 3rd, Puff Daddy getting sentenced to 50 months. P. Diddy requests to serve his sentence at FCI, Fort Dix, New Jersey. Diddy and his lawyers request for Puff Daddy to serve his sentence at Fort Dix in New Jersey for its solid drug rehabilitation. As one of Diddy's lawyers sent a letter to the judge, Fort Dix has one of the most intensive and extensive programs in the residential drug abuse program. Fort Dix is a federal prison where it maximizes family visits, and Fort Dix is one of the lowest in inmate capacity with around 4,000 inmates.
While Diddy escaped convictions on the heavier trafficking and racketeering charges, prosecutors painted a damning picture during his trial. The court heard detailed testimony from ex-girlfriends and former employees who described years of psychological control, coercion, and abuse hidden behind the glitz of celebrity. Among them was his former partner, Cassie Ventura, who testified while 9 months pregnant, recounting years of alleged violence, humiliation, and manipulation.
Testified that at one point on a 2013 video shoot that Sean Combs also attacked him. A lot of violence, a lot of bruising, and a lot of blackmail. He said that he had threatened to release Cassie's videos.
Another woman, using the pseudonym Jane, described being beaten for hours before Diddy allegedly asked her, "Is this coercion?" moments before forcing her into a freak-off.
Telling Sean Combs how she no longer wanted to perform in these so-called hotel nights with male prostitutes, and what she described as dismissive nature of Combs' response. But there were a couple of notable things. One, I think you hit on.
Even though the jury acquitted Diddy of those most serious charges, the presiding judge, Arun Subramanian, said the evidence of violence was impossible to ignore. When sentencing, the judge told him directly, "You abused the power and control that you had over the lives of women you profess to love. You abused them physically, emotionally, and psychologically. And it went on for years because you had the money and influence to keep it hidden." Still, Diddy's lawyers are calling foul, claiming the judge acted as a 13th juror, going beyond the verdict and punishing him as if he'd been convicted of crimes the jury explicitly rejected. They argue his sentence is unlawful, unconstitutional, and a perversion of justice. His legal team, led by Alexandra Shapiro, has filed an appeal demanding his immediate release or a new trial altogether. In their December filing, they accused the court of illegally and dramatically inflating the sentence. To Diddy's defenders, this isn't just about the law. It's about image. The upcoming $1 billion lawsuit against Netflix, they say, is part of a much larger plan to reclaim his narrative and rebuild his legacy.
Alexander Shapiro, okay? It's an 84-page document. In September 2024, the government accused him of heinous crimes and arrested and detained him. It said he was a trafficker who coerced and defrauded 2 long-term girlfriends into having sex against their will and ran a vast criminal organization. None of that was true. At Combs' trial,
winning the defamation case could restore some of the credibility he's lost since his 2024 conviction. Losing it could end his empire for good. For now, though, he sits behind bars. quietly planning his next move while the world keeps dissecting his past. Outside the prison walls, voices from Diddy's inner circle are starting to speak louder than ever. And they're divided on what his story really means. His former bodyguard, Gene Deal, who's been outspoken since the early 2000s, has emerged as a moral lightning rod in this saga. He's not defending Diddy, he's challenging the silence. In a recent interview, Deal said, "Everybody want to find fault in 50, find fault in me, find fault in the people speaking out. But what about the person who did it? What about the person who starved his artists, who set the stage for tragedy? Find fault in him." Gene's comments resonated across social media, not just as gossip, but as a kind of industry confession. Many fans see him as someone trying to expose the truth about how power really works behind the scenes in music. On the flip side, some of Diddy's former peers, including ex-NBA star Sebastian Telfair, who recently served time with him at Fort Dix, paint a very different picture. Telfair told TMZ that Diddy is holding it down, saying he's focused, staying positive, and even offering advice to younger inmates. "He's doing what he gotta do," Telfair said. "Diddy's gonna be Diddy. They're gonna help him where he's at."
Diddy's holding it down. He's doing what he got to do, and where he's at, they're gonna help him. You know what I'm saying? So he's gonna come out.
Help him in what way, if you don't mind?
I mean, we all know Diddy business because we got to see everything. But you know, I was just smoking weed. I never tried another drug in my life, and I don't drink alcohol. But you know, Diddy was living a rock star life, so I'm glad that he's gonna get the time to relax.
The image is startling. One man seen as the architect of his own downfall, another described as a survivor adapting to prison life. The contrast between these two realities only deepens the public's fascination. Is Diddy a villain who finally fell, or a product of an industry that chews people up and spits them out when they stop being profitable? Meanwhile, Netflix isn't backing down. Despite Diddy's family preparing $1 billion defamation suit, the streaming giant stands firm behind Sean Combs' The Reckoning. In a statement to media outlets, Netflix executives called the project a public interest documentary, one that sheds light on the abuse of power in entertainment. Privately, insiders say the company has no plans to retract or edit any portion of the series. Their stance is bold and risky. If the Combs family's lawsuit goes forward, it could become Hollywood's most expensive defamation battle since the $750 million election-related settlement of 2020. Legal experts say this case could set a precedent for how streaming platforms handle true crime-style documentaries about living celebrities. But beyond the legal war, the cultural ripple effect is massive. The documentary has already become Netflix's most watched non-fiction release of the decade, surpassing 40 million views globally. TikTok clips dissecting the allegations have amassed hundreds of millions of views. And 50 Cent, ever the strategist, continues to feed the fire, dropping cryptic posts, memes, and one-liners that keep the story trending week after week. Now, insiders at Netflix hint that a part 2 is already in discussion, a follow-up that would dig into the aftermath of the lawsuit, prison life, and new voices coming forward. If that happens, the feud between Diddy and 50 could transform from a personal rivalry into a pop culture case study on truth, power, and reputation. The question is, when the dust settles, will Diddy clear his name, or will Netflix's version of events become the one history remembers? So here we are, $1 billion lawsuit, a Netflix empire, and two of hip-hop's most dominant figures locked in a public and legal war that's bigger than either of them. What started as a documentary has become a cultural battlefield, where truth, power, and image collide in front of millions of viewers who can't look away. Because this isn't just about Diddy or 50 Cent anymore. It's about who gets to tell the story, and who pays the price for it. And here's the thing. If the Combs family actually wins this $1 billion defamation case, it could change how every streaming service handles celebrity documentaries forever. No more reckless editing. No more unverified claims. The stakes are that high. But for now, Netflix isn't flinching. 50 Cent's still taunting. And Diddy, once the king of Bad Boy Records, is sitting in a federal cell, quietly watching it all unfold, knowing that the next move he makes could define the rest of his life. Because in this war for reputation, the truth is no longer what happened, it's who tells it best.